You know, you ever get a song stuck in your head and you can't get it out? I remember, I think I told you guys this before, you know, as a youth, we would run around and sing the same song, and it would be an annoying song over and over again because we wanted to get it stuck into someone's head because, you know, it gets buried in your subconscious. You're not thinking about it, and next thing you know, you're singing it and you don't know why. I don't know where this came from or why this is even in my head. I didn't even hear this today. I didn't hear it yesterday. I haven't heard this in years. But for some reason, maybe I just needed to smile. This popped into my head. Smile! You're on Candid camera! Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the 213th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Got a jam-packed show today. Got my picks. We'll get to those later on in the show. Thursday night leftovers. Had some delicious pasta salad last night. And you know, when you get those juices to seep in and really marinate, sitting there overnight, can't wait to get to those leftovers from Thursday night football. So we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. You know, we always start with a Gem Droppin Session, though. But before we do that, it's Friday. And I got a couple of things lined up for me this weekend that I can't wait to get to. Everybody's talking about these shows and movies and things of that nature. So I wasn't home last week, so I didn't get a chance to see any of them. So I'm going to sit down and do it this weekend. Obviously, my Braves are in the NLCS. That starts on Saturday. So I'll be taking a gander at that, of course. But in between all of that, Dave Chappelle has a new special. Can't wait to watch that. And then Squid Games. Everyone's talking about this. It gives me Hunger Games vibes. But everybody's got an opinion about it. I've seen the preview. I saw the preview about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, yeah, I think I might want to watch that. And my wife was like, yeah, I want to watch it too. So we're going to sit down and we're going to watch that this weekend. And I'll be able to talk to you guys about that next week, hopefully, if all things go according to plan. So the slate is pretty much, set for the weekend. I don't know how much college football I'll get into this weekend. I can't say that I will definitely be tuning in. There aren't any massive games on the slate, I don't think, other than Georgia, Kentucky. But I don't know. I may take a gander. I may not. Either way. Remember, I talked about trades on the last podcast on Wednesday's show. And I say, hey, trade deadline, vastly approaching, man. Be on the lookout for some guys. And one of the names I listed was Zachary Ertz. And, someone else, I think it was my guy, Captain Spartan, was like, hey, I wouldn't mind having Zachary Ertz or Dallas Goedert. I'm like, whoa. They're not trading Dallas Goedert. I've heard his name brought up. I'm like, yeah, I don't think the Eagles are doing that. You can try. It won't hurt to pick up the phone and ask. But they'll probably tell you, nah, but you can have Zachary Ertz. Name your price. Well, Arizona Cardinals. And it was funny because rumors were that the Cardinals weren't really interested in making a move. Maybe that was all smoke and mirrors because they were interested in making a move. And here we are. Arizona Cardinals, who are the only undefeated team left in the National Football League, are the first to pull the trigger for the upcoming October trade deadline by going out and acquiring Eagles former tight end Zach Ertz in exchange for cornerback Tay Gowan and a 5th round pick. So I'd say that strengthens and maybe fortifies that Arizona Cardinals offensive attack. They were pretty much rock solid everywhere else. Running back, wide receiver, offensive line has been pretty good this season. And, of course, Kyler Murray pulling the strings at quarterback. They really just were lacking at the tight end position. The best they had was Max Williams. And Max is probably better served being a number 2 tight end in this league. They fortify that position, gives them another viable option for Kyler Murray to get the football to over the middle of the football field. I think it pretty much completes that offense, and it makes them that much more dangerous. So he won't be able to play this week because he played on Thursday night, which was risky. Eagles knew they were going to trade him. He knew he was going to be traded, and yet both parties agreed to play in the game on Thursday, and he didn't get hurt. So now he's off to Arizona, and I don't think that's the final trade that we will see take place. This NFL season is wide ass open as we see the Chiefs struggling right now, and the Seahawks aren't the Seahawks, and the Steelers are struggling, and all the teams that you thought before the season might be in play, they're struggling. The Buccaneers aren't struggling, and they're the defending Super Bowl champions, but the Rams look vulnerable. Who thinks that Arizona's really legitimately a Super Bowl contender? Not me yet. I'm still not sold, but I've been disrespecting them pretty much all season long. So what do I know? They're 5-0, and I thought they were going to lose in like week number 1 or week 2 or week 4 or something. Like I've probably picked against them multiple times, and they've shut me up already. I called them soft in week 1. They went to Tennessee and smacked the Titans around. So what do I know about the Arizona Cardinals? We'll see. I thought they were going to lose to the Rams. They went to L.A., beat the brakes off of the Rams. So they're playing extremely good football, are the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm still not sold yet. And I think this season is wide open, and if you've got a team with a quarterback and a chance, I say go after it this year. Why not? So I don't think that's the last time we'll see a trade happen, but I definitely thought that Zach Ertz would be on the move. Didn't know it would be this soon, but he is now an Arizona Cardinal. With that said, let's jump into the Gem Droppin Session, shall we? I think we shall. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So, I want to ask this question. What is your biggest surprise to start the season off? If you're out there and you want to comment, use the hashtag LouieTLive. And if you have a comment on this particular topic, I will read it. Use the hashtag. And if it's pertinent to the topic that we're discussing, what's the biggest surprise to you after 5 weeks going into week 6? We've had one game to kick off week 6, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. But so far in this season, 5 games in, what is the biggest surprise to you? It could be a positive, it could be a negative, it could be a combination of the two. What's the biggest surprise to you? For me, the biggest surprise to start this season is just how many division winners from a season ago are struggling. And we know how this goes in the NFL. You know, unlike other sports, especially basketball, where the good teams are good every year, unless there are massive injuries, which there usually aren't in the NBA. The good teams are good every year. Like in the Western Conference, you may get one team that slides out of, the bottom 3 and a new team enters. But for the most part, all right, you go into the season, if Golden State's healthy, Golden State, with LeBron and company, the Lakers are going to be in there. Now the Suns look like they're going to be in there and going to be good. Portland's always going to be around. The Dallas Mavericks are always going to be around. The Nuggets are going to be around. Like, these are teams every year going into the regular season. Hey, 6 or 7 spots in the West are already spoken for. Portland's going to be around. L.A., the Lakers are going to be around. The Clippers are going to be around. The Nuggets, the Mavericks, the Suns. You already know this before the season starts. So you're like, shit, how do we get in? If you're on the outside looking in, how do we find a way in? The Jazz? Like, how do we find a way in? That's not the case in the NFL. Every year we know before the season starts, there'll be anywhere from 4 to 6 brand new teams that did not make the postseason a season ago in the postseason in the upcoming year. We know that. It happens every single year. But it's usually not to the elites that it happens to. It's not to Pittsburgh and Seattle and Kansas City and Green Bay and Baltimore. Those aren't the teams that are susceptible to the changing that happens every year. They're immune to that. They're triple Ps. Perennial postseason participants. They don't have to worry about the turnover that happens in the NFL. They're immune to it. It's the Washingtons and the Houstons and the Clevelands and the teams like that aren't used to being in the postseason that made it. And Houston didn't make it last year, but those are the teams that are susceptible. And if Houston and they had Deshaun Watson last year, they still didn't. They were one of the worst teams. Those are the teams that are susceptible. You made it this year, but you're not guaranteed to come back next year. What's shocking is that those same teams that I just said are usually immune are the ones that are struggling right now at 2-3. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Washington. Washington doesn't even belong. Like if I asked you, if I wanted to make this into an SAT question, I would say, which one of these teams doesn't belong? And you'd say, oh, quick, without hesitation, Washington. They don't belong in that discussion. But they won the division last year. But they don't belong in that discussion. It's really more so Seattle, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh that I'm honing in on as teams at 2-3 that won their divisions last year. And I'm like, what is going on? As my son once famously said, what is going on? I need answers. I'm shocked. Because I would have bet just about any amount of money that at the 5-week mark, heading into week 6, that the Chiefs, more so than any other team, would not have been under 500. They had a brutal schedule, though. I mean, you look at the teams they've lost to. 4-1 Chargers, 4-1 Ravens, 4-1 Bills. It's brutal. So, but in past years, they don't lose to those teams. They find a way to win those games. Maybe they slip up and lose to one of them, but not all three of them. Those teams are 4-1 because they beat Kansas City. See, Seattle is shocking because they got Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson hasn't had a losing season in his career. Doesn't know what that looks like. All he does is win, 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 no matter what. Now he's hurt. But before he got hurt, they were stinking it up. Blew a 14-point lead to the Titans at home, losing overtime. They easily could have lost to the 49ers. Easily could have lost to the 49ers. They essentially, I didn't think they were going to win against the Rams on Thursday night before Russell Wilson got hurt, but they lose that game as well. And you're trying to figure out what's going on. They get their doors essentially blown off by the Minnesota Vikings of all teams. Really? You go to Minnesota and lay an egg after jumping on them early in that game? What? How about Pittsburgh? They shock everybody by going to Buffalo week 1 and winning. And I'm like, oh, shit, here come the Steelers. And that defense looked ferocious then. It looks even more ferocious now. So I'm like, oh, man. If Ben's together with a run game now, revamped offensive line, oh, shit, look out for the Steelers. They follow that up with an absolute dud the following week. They lose to the Raiders at home? What? And it only got worse from there. They can't score. Ben looks old. They look bad. I thought they showed some life, though, in their final loss against Green Bay on the road. That carried over into the win at home versus Denver. Now they got a chance to get back to 500 against the Seattle Seahawks, who will be led by Geno Smith on Sunday Night Football. But I'm shocked at how the Steelers started this season off. I'm shocked at how the Chiefs have started this season off. I'm shocked at how the Seahawks have started this season off. All of these teams that are perennial playoff participants, triple Ps, look like trash. Very vulnerable. Huge chinks in the armor. For the Steelers, their offense is a massive liability. For the Chiefs, their defense may be the worst in football right now. And for the Seahawks, you don't have Russell Wilson for the next month. They just officially put him on IR today. Scary times, man. Scary times. That's the biggest surprise to me this season. In this young NFL season. Let's go through the comment section real quick and see what you guys have to say, if anybody else has to say anything. Rodney Ray says the amount of missed field goals and extra points missed across the league. You know, that's not surprising to me. It's been a epidemic this year, you know, more so than normal, but I can see kickers missing. This has happened before. So I'm not all that surprised, but yeah, it's been a little bit surprising how many extra points have been missed. You know, field goals get missed, okay, but extra points. And you know what? We've seen this before where a ton of extra points have been missed, but you would think with all of these kickers and these legs and, you know, you get to put the ball wherever you want, you know, left, right hash, you know, in the middle, wherever you want it, you can put the ball. We're seeing as many missed extra points as we are. It's kind of mind-boggling with all these kickers and how good they are and how far they can kick it. It's amazing to see how many extra points are being missed. I do think that that's been something thus far. But the Black Al B says, what up, Lou? What up, Black Al B? Biggest surprise for me is Gruden getting in hot water and resigning. Yeah, that was a surprise. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, literally, they went back to 2011, dug up some emails, and then, you know, from 2011 all the way up to about 2017, they had emails with Gruden putting his foot in his mouth multiple times. So, yeah, nobody saw that coming. That's a really, really big surprise. You're right, because the man signed a 10-year contract with the Raiders and only was in year 4 of that 10-year deal, and he essentially was the face of the Vegas Raiders. He was the coach. He was the GM. He was the team president. He essentially was everything in that organization, and now he's gone, which is just kind of hard to fathom. So, yeah, I would say that ranks up pretty damn high on the list of surprises to start this season off. You're damn right it does. Absolutely. That's a good one. So, that's my surprise to this point, and you guys had some good ones as well. So, let's go ahead and transition to our next segment, and that's Thursday night leftovers. Go ahead, head to the kitchen and grab whatever leftovers you need. You got some old Chinese food you ready to push down. You got some pizza that you would like to knock back. A couple of slices left from yesterday. You know, got some wings left that you didn't polish off. Go ahead and go retrieve it right now. I'm going to give you a chance to heat it up, do whatever you need to do. I told you I'm a lukewarm leftover dude. I leave my stuff out on the counter and I come back and I punish it. So we had pasta salad yesterday, and pasta salad generally is best served cold. I agree. However, it never made it to the fridge. I punished it yesterday when it was done. It was still somewhat warm. I did not care. I was hungry and I ate like 3 bowls of it. I came back being a fat guy at like 2 in the morning, ate another bowl of it. And then it was not that much left, so why even bother putting it in the fridge? I left it on the counter. It's sitting there, and I got a bowl, and I'm going to polish it off right now and get rid of it. So, if you've got your stuff and you're ready to knock down these leftovers, I say, let's get after it. So, I got my fork. I got my bowl. When the pasta is al dente, you just can't beat it. Then you let it sit for a couple of extra days. I tell you what though, red onions, boy, when you get a nice big piece, it pops. I just got a nice big piece of red onion with my pasta salad there and a couple pieces of pepper. That was a great bite. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. That first Thursday night leftover is always great if it's something that you really desire. I love pasta salad. Upon further review, first of all, the Bucs won the game 28-22 last night, for those of you who did not watch. Upon further review, this was a discussion we had last night. The passing of the number one Bucs wide receiver torch has been grossly exaggerated. So what do I mean by that? Last night we had a discussion on the show after the game, overtime. You guys know what it is. And one of the discussions that came up, I was pretty adamant, and my guy Captain Spartan also co-signed on this, that Mike Evans is no longer the number one receiver in Tampa Bay. And really, this shit doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. You know, that's a conversation like in the NBA we hear all the time. Whose team is it? Whose team is this? Is it Kobe's team or is it Shaq's team? Like, that's some NBA shit. Like, egos get in the way. Whose team is it? Is it LeBron's team or is it Dwayne Wade's team? Like, who gives a shit? Really. Those NBA players, they generally do. They care about that frivolous, stupid shit. They let the media get in their head, and all of a sudden, there's infighting. Whose team is it? Is it Shaq's team or is it Penny's team? It's the NFL. I don't give a shit if my number one receiver is my number one or my number two. If he's a number one and he's number two, but he's still got 82 catches on the season, who gives a shit? Mike Evans, every year, I think for his career thus far, has had over 1,000 yards receiving. And he's had multiple seasons of over 100 catches, I think. But he's always gotten over 1,000. And I think he'll do it again this year. That's the most important part. But when I went back and looked, because I was curious, because last night it was egregious. Mike Evans only had 4 targets. Antonio Brown had 11. And that's what prompted someone that hadn't been watching, like Captain Spartan, to say, hey, the torch has been passed. This is now Antonio Brown's team in terms of being a number one wide receiver. Game on the line. Brady was looking for him, not Mike Evans. Touche. I get it. And I was on board with that last night. But I thought to myself, I said, look, I watched the Dolphins game last week. He got just as many targets as A.B., and he scored 2 touchdowns. So did A.B. I'm like, nah, I don't know if I buy that. So I went back and I looked. And he had more targets than A.B. in that game last week against the Dolphins. I think one more. Like, one had 8, the other had 9. They both had like 100 and whatever yards and 2 touchdowns. They both ate good last week. The week before that, Evans had more targets. The week before that, A.B. didn't even play. The week before that, A.B. left the game early. I said all that to say this. Mike Evans is still the Don Dada in Tampa Bay. He might have had a quiet night last night. That's fine. But at the end of the day, he's still Mikey. And he's still a guy you got to deal with. And he's still a guy that Brady trusts. And he's still a guy that's going to make plays for that Buccaneers offense. And so I feel like the passing of the number one wide receiver torch in Tampa Bay has been grossly exaggerated. It's still Mike Evans. He's still in the mix. You know, AB's going to get his share of targets. And he's AB. And like my guy Reese said last night, last year he was Antonio Brown. This year he's back to being AB. I totally agree with that. He looks like AB from Pittsburgh again. Like he's got that spring in his step. He's a baller again. But Mike Evans is still that guy. Like, he's still that dude. So I think that was grossly exaggerated last night. So that was the first leftovers. Let's get to the next leftover. I'm going to take another bite of this pasta salad real quick. And my wife, she put just the right amount of dressing on the pasta salad this time. Like it was, sometimes you can get the pasta salad and it is just dripping and oozing with the dressing. Like you get to the bottom of the bowl when you're done and it's just a pond full of dressing. I don't have that right now. This is the right ratio of veggies, pasta salad, the actual noodles itself. Gotta have ziti noodles. And dressing. I mean, this is great. Quez Watkins and Miles Sanders need more touches. That's the next leftover. Look, Eagles fans have been screaming for Miles Sanders to get more opportunities, and rightfully so. He's a baller. And I don't understand why. The most carries the man has seen in a game this season is 15, and that came in week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. Since then, his numbers have diminished just about every single week. Now, I think he had 11 carries against Carolina last week, but he was reduced back down to like 7 carries or 9 this week. So whatever the case may be, Nick Sirianni hasn't figured out the magic number that exists of touches that need to be had by Miles Sanders, and that's a problem. All right, right now on the team, he has 53 rushes, does Miles Sanders. That's actually 4 less than Jalen Hurts. That's problematic. Your quarterback should never have the most carries. Your quarterback can have the most yards. I'm pretty sure there's been years where Lamar Jackson has had the most rush yards on his team. But he didn't have the most carries, though. That's the difference. He's not supposed to have the most carries. Right now, Jalen Hurts is on pace to have the most carries on the Eagles team. And I told you last night, he's a bona fide running back that just happens to be able to throw the football. Well, you got other guys that can tote the rock. Take some of that pressure off of your quarterback. But enough of Miles Sanders. We've talked about that ad nauseum. The guy that I really want to talk about is Quez Watkins. Because I've watched Quez Watkins since the preseason, and I dismissed him last year. I talked about Quez Watkins like he was a nobody. And, they drafted like 3 receivers last year. I loved none of them. First round they took Rager. They took Quez Watkins a little bit later on in the draft, and they also took Hightower from Boise State. And I was like, he took a bunch of guys that don't really love any of them. Well, Watkins has emerged for me even more so than Rager as a guy that I'm looking at. I'm saying, hey, this dude right here, he needs more opportunities. He had the 91-yarder against the 49ers, did Watkins. I remember watching the preseason, first game against Pittsburgh, he takes a wide receiver screen and absolutely murks on the entire Steelers defense, including, I think the Steelers had like a 7th-round pick safety, Norwood, out of Oklahoma. Smoked him. Made him look like the man was stuck in quicksand. And he had the angle. So I'm like, this dude, and we knew he was a bona fide speedster when he was at Southern Miss. Still, I was disrespecting him. I've seen Quez Watkins make plays, and he caught a ball last night where it gets deflected. You know how hard it is to catch a ball that gets deflected? You think it's going to be here. It ends up all the way over here, and you're falling down at the same time. Quez Watkins needs more opportunities. Right now, Quez Watkins is 6th on the Eagles roster in amount of targets. That's ludicrous. The man is averaging 19 yards per reception. He's only got 16 catches on the season. To me, he's their second best wide receiver after Devontae Smith. He's better than Rager. He's better than, even their tight end position, which is struggling with health and they just traded away Ertz, who was ahead of Quez Watkins in targets and catches. I think he's their second best option to get the football to after Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins needs more opportunities, and I don't really give a shit how you get him the football. Jet sweep, wide receiver screen, slant, go ball, deep dig. I don't really give a shit. Deep post. He just needs more opportunities because he looks like a playmaker. He looks like a playmaker. I don't know if the guy getting him the ball is good enough to get it to him consistently, but I think this guy's good enough to get open and make something happen when he does get the football. I think he, along with Miles Sanders, to me, need more opportunities. And I think that was apparent again last night. Next leftover. I can tell you this much. This pasta salad is not disappointing. And I knew it wouldn't because, again, you let it sit and marinate. It's only going to get better. And it's set off by just the little nuances of the vegetables, the little onions and peppers and tomatoes that are also in. And you just get a little splash of that in the bite. And all of those flavors fuse with one another. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a party in your mouth. The Buccaneers. Listen to their schedule. The next 6 games. Home for Chicago, at New Orleans, at Washington, home for the Giants, at Indianapolis, at Atlanta, home for Buffalo. So, take the Buffalo game out of the equation. They're currently 5-1. What's stopping them from being 11-1 heading into a massive home showdown with the Buffalo Bills? What's stopping them? I don't know. To me, I look at that schedule. I say, why the hell not? Why can't they run that table and head into that Buffalo Bills game at 11-1? And that could be a preview of the Super Bowl. Bills and Bucs. Right now, you could argue those are the 2 best teams in all of football. Right now, we've all declared the Bills, the best team in the AFC right now. That could change, obviously. But the Bucs look like the team to beat. I mean, the Rams, even though they beat the Bucs, I'm not sold on the Rams. The Rams look very beatable. Very beatable. So, when I look at that schedule, I'm like, yeah, the Saints on the road, family business. The Saints will be much healthier then. They'll have Michael Thomas back. They'll have Teron Armstead back. They'll have most of their guys back for that ball game. It might be a different Saints team. On the road, family business, you know how that goes. But I'm like, they can beat the Saints. Jameis Winston, they know Jameis. That's their boy. They know Jameis. At Indy, despite their record, the Colts are no pushover. They can beat the Colts, though. In Indy, at home, it doesn't matter. They can beat Indy. But we'll see. That's an intriguing game. I think they can win all 6 of those games and get to 11-1 and have a massive Week 14 showdown with the Bills that could potentially be a Super Bowl preview. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Next Thursday night leftover. You've ever eaten something and you don't want it to end, so you start nimpsing on it. You don't really take as big a bite as you should. I've done that with subs before in the past. I'm kind of doing that with this pasta salad. Like, I should be taking bigger forkfuls, but I don't want to because I don't want it to be over. But I know I got to, so I'm going to take another bite real quick. Eagles have scored at least 7 points in every fourth quarter this season. They've played in 6 games, and they've scored in every single fourth quarter at least 7 points. They've scored 8 multiple times. They scored double figures multiple times. So think about the Eagles and their season and games they've lost, and hell, even games they've won. Just think about their season as a whole and how they've performed. I think they've gotten off to solid starts. There have been games where they jump out and score 10 points in the first quarter. Scored, 13 points in the first. They always score. So they've always scored in the first, and they've always scored in the fourth. Where they're struggling this year is in the second and third quarter. Those are the quarters where they're inconsistent right now. They've gotten off to fast starts. They've gotten off to slow starts, but they always finish fast. So think about some of these games. They polished off the Falcons in week 1. They scored like 15 points in the fourth quarter. Ran away with that game. That game was close. It was like 15-6 for the longest. And they run away and hide in the fourth quarter and dominate them 32-6. Think about week 2 against the 49ers. They had 3 points heading into the fourth quarter. And literally with 5 minutes left in that ball game, it's 17-3. And then they get a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and all of a sudden we got a ball game on our hands, 17-11. Slow in the middle. has been the issue for the Eagles. Think about the Panthers game last week. 3 points in the first quarter. They don't score a single point in the second quarter, and they don't score in the third quarter and rally back in the fourth quarter of that game against the Panthers. Block a kick. Hurts runs a touchdown in. They came back and off the pace. If I'm not mistaken, they might have gotten a field goal in the third quarter. But most of the damage was done in the fourth quarter in that comeback against the Panthers last week. And then look at this game. Slow start. They get on the board in the first quarter, though. Slow start. Nothing in the second quarter. Damn near nothing in the third. And then they come alive in the fourth and make this thing a ball game. Score 15 points in the fourth quarter of this game. The fourth quarter has been a good quarter for the Eagles. They've got to be better in the second and third quarters of ball games. They've scored in every single first quarter this season and every single fourth quarter. Second and third quarters have been when the Eagles have been their most inconsistent. If they can tighten that up, we could be talking about a different Philadelphia Eagles football team. We don't know. We'll see. Last leftover. I'm go ahead and scrape the bowl on this one. Get all my veggies, all my red onions, all my tomatoes, all of my peppers, my green peppers. Get all of that stuff out. Scrape the bowl a little bit and get all of these out. And look, at the bottom of the bowl, no dressing. Like I told you, this is perfect. With Brady throwing it 42 times last night, that makes it 5 out of 6 games with at least 40 attempts or more for Brady this season. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. In every game except one, Brady has had 40 or more passing attempts. The guy's 89 years old, and they're working his ass like he's 21 years old. 42 last night for Brady. 41 against the Dolphins the week before that. 43 in the Patriots game on Sunday Night Football the week before that. 55 in the loss to the Rams the week prior to that. Week 2 is the only week he did not have 40 plus, and he had 34 in that game against the Falcons. And then 50 spot against the Cowboys in week 1. So 2 of those 5 games that he's over 40, he went over 50. His arm is going to fall off if they keep this pace up. And if you're a Buccaneers fan, you know that probably of those, and I'm going to do some quick math. I'm going to do the old rounding method. We all know about that. 40, 40, 40, 50, 60. All right, so 110, 150, 190, 230. Of these 230 attempts or so that Brady's had in these 5 games, and there's 34, so 30 more if you want to throw those in. Of the 260, let's just round all the way up and include that one game as well. Of the 260 that Brady's thrown this season, attempts, mind you, if he keeps this pace, I'd like to think that he's going to shatter some kind of record, because if he keeps this pace, you triple this. That would put him in the that would put him at 6, like right around 690, right? Yikes. Has anybody ever had 700 passing attempts? Maybe Matthew Stafford. There's been some years where I think some guys have slung it 700 times in a season. Whatever. I digress. The bottom line is any Bucs fan will probably tell you, hey, man, of that 230 that you're talking about, like 55 of those are at or behind the line of scrimmage. like a lot of these are, underneath. But there also are a huge chunk of these that are down the field too. We know Brady. We know how he operates. So, at the end of the day, Brady's arm is going to fall off if they keep this pace. So they've got to find a way to find balance with Brady. So we'll see if they can do that or not. So now let's transition to our final segment of the show. And that's my money picks of the week. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Let's get it. So I know y'all see the belt behind me. Sometimes that's not for y'all. The belt behind me isn't for y'all. Sometimes I need y'all to know I'm that dude. I'm that guy. But sometimes I need to remind myself that I'm that guy. Sometimes I need a reminder. Hey, you that dude. So every now and again, I need to look back at the chip just to remind myself, oh, I am the champ. The champ is here. The champ is here. Sometimes I need to do that because I haven't gotten off to a great start. Your man is struggling with a capital S right now. You know what I feel like, though? I feel like the Atlanta Braves right now. Because for as bad as I'm struggling, the kid is only like 3 games back of first place. And I'm like, I'm giving y'all jokers every opportunity to take the mantle and run with it. Run away and hide. Run away, run away. Run. Hide. Because if I find you and I catch you, I'm going to smoke you. And they don't want to leave. They just letting me hang around. They don't want to leave. Well, if I catch them, but I gotta go right now, I'm gonna leave their ass. And I ain't coming back before you know it. If I catch up, you know the slogan, you know the mantra, you know what they say, you know the old adage, even leaving. I'm giving these boys a chance to run away from the kid, and they letting me hang around. I've had some brutal weeks to start this season off. It has not been pretty for the kid. I've second-guessed myself, and I go through these, internal struggles all the time where I doubt myself. I'm not sure. Should I make this pick? Should I make that pick? I think this team is going to win, but I don't have the balls to pull the trigger. That shit is over with now, man. I'm going ballsy. You know what I'm calling this week? First time week. First for everything. First time week. This is first time week. Week 6 in the National Football League is first time week. First time I'm going to actually win in terms of having the best picks for the week. And first time for a lot of teams to do things this week. So let's get to the shits this week. And my money picks of the week. So I'm 1-0. Got the Tampa Bay. Everybody got that one. I'm not celebrating that. Everybody got that one. Okay, unless you were trying to be special. And if you got the loss because you were trying to be special, then you deserve the loss for trying to be special. Miami at Jacksonville over in London. Second week in a row, we got a London game. Jacksonville's been close. They've been sniffing around some dubs. It's hard to get it done on U.S. soil. It has been for the Jacksonville. It's tough for Herb. It's tough to look over at the sideline. Herb's got his hands on his knees, hunched over. Head drops down. Another failed 4th down. Another loss. And, as they continue to stockpile and the players continue to doubt Herb, he sinks into a lower and lower rung of Jacksonville Jaguar lore. And you're like, ugh. Might not make it out of the season. Come on, Herb. Come on, guy. And I'm looking at the Dolphins, and they may have Tua back this week. Woo, Tua. Yeah. And if he plays, that might be a boost for them. Or he could stink? We don't know. There's no William Fuller V. He's on IR. There's no Devontae Parker this week. He's hurt. There's no Xavier Howard. This smells like an upset opportunity. Jacksonville? Does somebody want their first win of the season? Yes, they do. Drop some coins on it. Jacksonville's getting their first win of the season. I told you, this is the first. This is the week of first. Jacksonville gets their first win of the season. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington football team, 2-2-3 teams that won their divisions a season ago. They're not one and the same. Okay, they're not equals. They may have the same record. They may have both won their division last year, but that's where the similarities stop. The Chiefs are capable of scoring 40 at a moment's notice. Now, I shouldn't say that. The similarities don't end there. Both of their defenses have been tragically bad this season. Okay, that's where the similarities end. Oh, I lied again. Okay, both of their offenses have actually been really good this season. Okay, that's where the similarities end. Because the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs have Tyreek Hill. The Chiefs have Travis Kelce. The Chiefs have Andy Reid. Should I say any more? So, essentially what this boils down to, because I said a lot without actually saying anything. What this ultimately boils down to is both teams' defenses stink. Which quarterback are you choosing to exploit the funky defense the most? Patrick Mahomes, former league MVP, or Taylor Heineke? I'm going to go with the former league MVP and the guy that has represented the AFC in the last 2 Super Bowls. That would be one Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Go ahead. Drop some coins on it. Next up, the Los Angeles Rams and the New York Football Giants. The G-Men. So, Daniel Jones may play this week. He may not play this week. Saquon Barkley will not play this week. I hate doing this because I don't love the Rams. And they're not at home. But when duty calls, I have to respond. And this week, the Rams have to get me through to next week. So, not only am I picking the Rams, drop some coins on it, but I'm picking them as my sole survivor. They're a sole survivor of the week. Gotta get it done. The Giants stink. The Rams do not. The Rams are coming off of 10 days of rest. This should be an ass thrashing. It may not be, but it better be a Rams victory, and that's all that matters. Next, we get to the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. AFC South, family business. And you know how the family do it, and this is some funky family business. This stinks. It's the worst division in football. That doesn't stop these two family members from getting down and getting funky. The Colts aren't what their record says. Despite what Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are. The Colts are not a 1-4 team. Or, 1-4. They're not a 1-4 team. But that's what the record says they are, right? The Texans are 1-4. So you're trying to tell me both of these teams are the same? Get out of here. The Texans are not the same as the Indianapolis Colts. They played well. They should have beat the New England Patriots last week. But they're the Texans. That's why I'm picking the Colts. Drop some coins on it. Cincinnati Bengals at the Detroit Lions. Bengals coming off of a heartbreaking, gut-punching loss at home against the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, you want to talk about gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, rip your soul out of your body losses. Nobody's had more of those this year than the Detroit Lions. That loss to Baltimore, brutal. The one last week might have been even worse because their head coach says, you know what? I believe in y'all. So much so, we going for 2. F it. We going for 2. We going for the win. We can tie the game up, send this thing to overtime, but F overtime. Let's go win it right now. And Jared Goff throws a dart in the back of the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. They're up 17-16, and they're feeling good. Except there was still about 27 seconds left. And the Vikings had a couple of timeouts. It was maybe more like 40 seconds left. Vikings had a bunch of timeouts. They kicked a 54-yard walk-off and beat the Lions, to which their head coach, Dan Campbell, who was talking about biting off kneecaps, was crying at the press conference. I love those guys in the locker room. They continue to fight. And I wouldn't go to war with any other guys but the ones I have in that locker room. Well, you know what, Dan? They love you too. And this week, in the weeks of first, you get your first win of the season. That's right. Drop some coins on it. The Detroit Lions beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Get their first win of the season. You heard it here first. Next, Green Bay Packers at the Bears. NFC North family business, the oldest family business in the book. Doesn't get any older than the monsters of the Midway taking on the Green Bay Packers. Skip all the dramatics, man. The Bears stink on offense. The Packers do not. I don't love the Packers defense. I love the Bears defense. This might be closer than it needs to be, but when it's all said and done, Aaron Rodgers prevails over Justin Fields. Give me the Green Bay Packers. Drop some coins on it. Chargers at Ravens. You could argue this is the best game of week number 6 in the National Football League. What to do? The Ravens, they scare me because they're 4-1. They could easily be 0-5 right now. Easily be 0-5. None of their wins have been, blowout victories where they dominated the opponent. They've been pretty much in knockdown, drag out slobber knockers all season long, and they've just found ways to win. You could argue the Denver game never really in question in the second half, right? Outside of that one, though, every one of their games has gone down to the wire, essentially, and they've found ways to win. Kansas City, Detroit, last week against Indianapolis. It's been nip and tuck all season long. And then there's the Chargers. Speaking of nip and tuck all season long, you could say the same thing about them. They could easily be 0-5. They're 4-1. Close win against Washington. Narrow loss against Dallas. Close win this past week against Cleveland. Close win at Kansas City. Yeah. Two teams essentially staring in the mirror against one another. 4-1. Should be a dandy. Who prevails? I've told you this many a times, and this doesn't always work out. No rhyme or reason here. I could sit here and, the Chargers have one of the worst rush defenses in the league, and the Ravens want to run it, so I'll take the Ravens. I could do one of those. Look, let's simplify it even more. I don't trust the Ravens defense. This isn't like the Ravens defenses of the past. I think Herbert and company can move the football against this Ravens defense. And yes, I do think the Ravens can run the football against this Chargers defense. Their defense on the ground stinks. That said, I'm going to keep it simple, stupid. When it's this close, you can flip a coin. I choose not to do that because that's random too. I just go with the theory of home relativity, which states when you have two teams that are of equal caliber and you aren't sure what you should do, you just pick the home team. And that's what I'm going to do. Give me the Ravens. Quote Louie T, nevermore. Drop some coins on it. Yeah, I like the way that sounds. Next game. Minnesota Vikings at the Carolina Panthers. I thought long and hard about this one because I said to myself, Christian McCaffrey probably not going to play. And it looks like he's not going to play, and I think they might have already ruled him out for the game. You know what? Fine. Sam Darnold scares me. That performance last week against Philadelphia was dreadful. That defense, though, is still legit. So, I've watched the Minnesota Vikings in the last 2 weeks against solid defense, but not game-changing defenses, score 19 against the Lions and 7 against the Browns. They were both at home. So now they've got to pack their shit up, go on the road to take on a Panthers team that is foaming at the mouth and looking at the Vikings offense like fresh meat, like food. They're starving. And I think the Vikings are going to be the perfect meal for this Panthers defense. That's my Panthers growl to feast on. Give me the Panthers at the crib. Drop some coins on it. So, Cardinals at Browns. I went back and forth on this one because the Cardinals are 5-0. They look good. Playing well defensively. Offense, only scored 17 last week against San Francisco, but that's family business. You know how that goes. Browns, I don't really know what to make of them yet. 1 week, they're struggling with Houston at home. The next week, they're barely escaping against the Minnesota Vikings. The next week, they're scoring 42 points in a loss at the Chargers. I don't know what to make of these guys. But I said, this is a week of firsts, right? That's the theme of the week, right? And I still, for whatever reason, don't ask me why, I still don't believe in Arizona. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't believe in the Browns either. And they're not going to have Nick Chubb, which scares me a little bit because they need to run the football. But they still got Kareem Hunt. And I told you about Demetric Felton. They still got stuff at running back. So I said they'll be fine, even though Chubb's a beast. Kyler Murray's dealing with a little something, as Joe Gibbs used to say, Kyler Murray's got a shoulder. They scored 17 last week, and they're on the road against the Browns. And these are the types of defenses that give Kyler Murray fits. These athletic fronts that can get after him. He can't run away. He'll try to throw it up. He'll throw some interceptions. They almost lost to the Jags. I can't get that out of my mind. It's the week of firsts. So, in the spirit and theme of that, Arizona Cardinals get their first loss of the season. Give me the Cleveland Browns at the crib. Drop some coins on it. Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. AFC West family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's AFC West family business. You know how the family do it. Look, let me keep this one simple and short. I've got another rule. The rule of the first game of an interim head coach. Okay? And this rule simply states the first week after a new coach takes over for the old coach in season, that team is going to rally around the new coach and win one for the Gipper. So translation, John Gruden resigned on Monday. New interim head coach Rich Bisaccia takes over. And the team says, we got to win this one for Rich. We love him. So the Denver Broncos, sorry, not sorry. You lose. Raiders win. Drop some coins on it. This one pains me because this one feels like 2 years ago when the Cowboys lost to the Jets in New York or Jersey. Sam Darnold had a hell of a game. Cowboys were a little off their game, and the Jets shocked the Cowboys and beat them. This is what this game feels like. Everybody expects Dallas to win this game. Patriots stink on offense. They don't have enough offense. Their defense, it's good. It's not good enough to stop Dallas's offense. And you're looking around and you're saying, this should be a blowout. This should be an ass whooping. Dallas has been putting up 40 on everybody's skull the last couple of weeks, 30-something, 40-something. This should be another one of those games. And Bill Belichick's like, yeah, go ahead. Talk that shit. I got something for their ass. I don't believe you. You need more people. I don't believe him. I got to see it. I could see Dallas going in there sleepwalking. And they wake up in the fourth quarter and they look and they say, how the hell is this 19-17? What are we doing playing around with these guys? We got to win this game. But I also could see them scoring 33 points. And the Patriots, 30 points? What? You're allowed to do that? You're allowed to score 30 points in a game? Patriots don't know what 30 points look like. And they damn sure ain't finding out this weekend. That's the problem I have. So I got to go with the team that is playing solid defense, even though they may not have their best corner. Doesn't matter. The Patriots aren't going to take advantage of that. Who are they going to do it with? Kendrick Bourne? Huh? Nelson Aguilar? Who's going to do it? Jacoby Myers? Yeah, right. Get out of my face. Give me the Cowboys. Drop some coins on it. All right. Seattle. Pittsburgh. Sunday Night Football. This one, simple. Straight to the point. The Steelers played good football last week. I think they're going to play good football this week. The defense is legit. The Seahawks don't have Russell Wilson. Enough said. Geno Smith. Geno. Oh. Geno. Oh, no. Give me the Steelers. Finally, we go to Monday night. Buffalo at Tennessee. Normally, I would save this for Monday. But I don't know if there's going to be a pod on Monday. Haven't been a pod the last couple of Mondays, so just in case. The last time the Bills, really took one on the chin. Really got their asses handed to them. Really got their asses reamed. It was this Titans team. You remember. Titans had all of that nonsense going on with COVID. It was the real first COVID outbreak we had in postponement of a game. And the Bills had to move some things around. Remember, we were supposed to get Chiefs-Bills on a Thursday night. Well, that got wrecked because of them having to move this game, Bills and Titans, to like a Tuesday. They showed up, and I remember I was so hypercritical of the Titans. Oh, you should have just given them a loss. Now you're shuffling the schedule around. This is not fair to the Bills. And I remember the Titans hadn't practiced in like 10 days. And I'm like, they haven't practiced. They're going to get annihilated by the Bills. And they showed up, and they absolutely waxed the Buffalo Bills. Put it on them. Ryan Tannehill's jumping in the end zone and finger rolling it left and right. I think he had like 2 rushing touchdowns. They scored like 47 and beat the Bills like 47-20 or some craziness like that. I was like, didn't see that coming. That's not happening this game, by the way. But I've said this about the Titans before. I'll say it again. They're one of those teams in the league, similar to Minnesota, that plays up and down to the level of competition. When you put a garbage inferior team in front of the Titans, they're capable of losing. You put a really good team in front of the Titans, and they're capable of winning because they elevate their level of play. And anytime you can run it and play a sliver of defense, and they're getting Julio and A.J. Brown back. What can Brown do for you? A hell of a lot. Getting both of those guys back this week. They had Brown last week. They're getting A.J. Brown and Julio Jones back together on the field again. Couple that with Derrick Henry. The Bills are riding this high right now, crushing the Chiefs. Everybody's singing their praises. They can't be touched right now. And the Titans are just sitting back, waiting in the weeds. Derrick Henry and 34 carries and 174 yards is just waiting on the Bills' ass. Couple of play action fake bombs over the top to Julio and AJ, just waiting on their ass. I got the Titans on Monday in a 34-30 shootout, and the Titans come out on top, drop some coins on it. Scared money don't make money, man. It don't. As we go to the end of the show, scared money don't make money, right? I've been scared all season. I've been picking like a baby back bitch, soft as a baby's bottom, like drugstore cotton. I've been soft, like cotton candy. I think this is gonna happen, but I don't have the balls to pick it. Look, either I'm gonna go 12-2 this week, or I'm gonna go 6-6. Or 7-7. I think there's 14 games this week. Either way, I ain't scared. I ain't never scared. At least not no more. I was before. But from this point on, I ain't never scared. These picks reflect that. Either it's going to be a really good week for the kid, or it's going to be all bad. Either way, I'm ready. I'm ready. Anyway. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I got a couple of comments to Super Chat, and I got a couple of shout-outs to give. First things first, let me take care of this brand new member to the squad. Comacel Brown. C. Brown, stand up. You are officially a member of the MOBB. Welcome to the squad, C. Brown. Y'all know what to do. Mob C. Brown. Show C. some love. Welcome to the MOBB, Comacel Brown. What can Brown do for you? Be a hell of a member of the squad. Welcome aboard. I got a super chat. First of all, I got another squad member who has been a member for now 2 months, has earned that S on his chest. My guy, Chauncey Davis. Thank you for being a beloved and very, very special member of the squad, who writes, "What up, Lou? The OG is in the house." Yes, indeed, he is. That leftover tuna salad my wife, had for lunch hit the spot. My guy crushes some leftovers. He says, "I'm still riding with you and Ron." Hit that like button. That leftover tuna, man. That tuna salad. Yes, sir. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you're still in the whip with me and Ron, because it's been bumpy, man. This last week, we dropped off some people. A lot of people got out of the vehicle. I don't blame them. A lot of people got out, though, man. It's a lot less people in here than it was a week ago. A lot less than it was 2 weeks ago. It's all good. Call it shedding some dead weight. And hit the like button. You heard the man. Hit the like button. We can get it up to 70, 75 likes before we get out of here. Fully capable. And I got a super chat from Chauncey Davis. My guy, Chauncey Davis, CD, the OG. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, Chauncey. North Carolina State Fair started today. Grandkids in town from 3 states. House full. Wife is in hog heaven. Go Washington football team. Yeah. Got a house full of them. Maybe that'll bring us some luck this week. We need it. We need it, OG. OG, triple OG. We need it. I don't know if luck is enough, though, this week, but we'll see. All we can do is watch and see. Thank you for that super chat, Chauncey. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this Friday evening. I thank every single one of you for participating, watching, supporting, and commenting. If you haven't already done so, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and hit the like button, as that helps this channel grow immensely. Get off your bench, or get off the bench, get in the game and kick it with me, your man Louie T. Until next time. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully these picks come through for the kid. I need them bad. But even if they don't, I ain't mad, because I'm ready. I'm ready. You guys enjoy your weekend. I definitely will. Got a lot of programming to digest. We'll talk about it next week at some point. And a lot of football to take in as well. We'll talk about that definitely next week. Until then, I'll see you guys on, Sunday? Sunday. Until then, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you later. Get out of here. LouieTeeNetwork.